Anybody would like to share?
So this is Kanupriya.
Yeah.
As Ratnesh, I am associated with Aarohi for quite some time. So
Hmm.
I'm literally looking forward to start my journey of unschooling. I mean, open learning is going all the time, but
Hmm.
unschooling. So wanted to, as the message said that it is, forming the community.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to that, or meeting people and knowing their views about the open learning and unschooling as well.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Kanupriya. So, okay, let me also summarize. So, you are seeing how what different people are also thinking. Is that what you want to connect to, and also whatever, share your views and see how everything
Yeah,
comes
so
together.
basically being part of their journey, at the
Hmm.
same time being part of the bigger community, as I'm looking forward to start this journey real soon
Okay.
with
Okay.
my son basically.
Sure. 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 Got it. Yeah.
Ratnesh, yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
Satvinder.
Satvinder here. So for me, it's a little things like this. I want to homeschool, but my wife is a little reluctant. So
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of sort of renting out one property here, just where I
Mm-hmm.
live, and start spending some evenings over there, like daily for a few hours after my job. So job, let's say, finishes around 7 o'clock. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
7 to 10. So anybody can come, like, so community sort of. Anybody
Wow.
can come, contribute. So this is my dream basically, and I'm seeing this thing is done by one person. There's a community called Little Groove. It's in
Mm-hmm.
Sikandrabad, Hyderabad slash Sikandrabad. So there one IIT Madras pass out, and I think IIM also. He's been doing it for many years, and he's very low profile person, but he
Mm-hmm.
loves kids just like you are with kids. He's also surrounded with kids, and he's running a community from morning to after evening. But because of COVID, it stopped for some time, and now it'll start again. So something I want to take hint that if I take something on rent here in my own community,
Mm-hmm.
how to go about it, because there are not many people who want to go in this direction. So this is very like going against the mainstream type of thing where
Interesting
so
concept. Yeah.
that's what I want to think
Sure.
in those
Sure.
direction.
I
But
want
what can we do?
I
Yeah.
want to ask Satvinder, where are you based?
I'm in my home jewel, Madina Guda, Hyderabad.
Okay. No. I'm in Pune, so I was just thinking if something could be collaborated.
Yeah, I'm sure if it starts over here after 3 months or so. Well, first of all, how to start? Is anybody
Sure.
has done
Sure.
this before?
Sure.
So I think you have done it in good scale in Bangalore. Hyderabad, there are not one. I already know. I told you Little Groove, but that is like 20 kilometer away from me.
Sure. Sure.
So
Satvinder, we'll get into details. Don't worry. Okay. Kranti, you want to share?
Yes. I'm already running a preschool.
Hmm.
It's a
Hmm.
Montessori school. Uh,
Hmm.
its name is Flourish here in Pune.
Hmm.
So after attending this integrated learning and Jagriti, I'm like quite influenced by
Hmm.
all this thing. And even like for my son also, currently he's not attending school and all, whatever has been happening online.
Hmm.
So since
Hmm.
December or so, he's not attending it. So we have just initiated the path of this unschooling thing. I would not say
Hmm.
homeschooling if I just understand the
Sure.
difference exactly. So it's basically unschooling that is happening right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
So then, uh, as I said, I'm like quite influenced with this. So I was also thinking how this my preschool can be uh, mm, can have that kind of environment or something. I'm just keeping it for a longer term goal, wherein
Hmm.
this I could be forming something like this, the way Aarohi is working, something like that. So that's a long term goal, but yeah, step by step, I have to start moving towards it. That's the
Okay.
reason why I'm here.
And how old is your son?
He's 8 right now.
8. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Who else? I think Prashant is sharing. He's more looking at options available for his 4-year-olds, for his 4-year-old. And Pooja is saying what exactly is homeschooling, unschooling, and other ways of learning for a child. Okay.
Ratnesh, hi, I've just joined.
Mhm.
Purvi.
Yeah, Purvi.
Jia is doing Aarohi, though she is also doing schooling because of my husband's pressure.
Sure.
So she is enjoying Aarohi a lot. But still, it's like, I think, very early to decide, whether to continue school or not to, because he is very adamant. He doesn't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
He still feels that, without marks, without exams, without results, you are nowhere. And I cannot change his perception. But luckily, because of lockdown, at least we could try this also. So let's see. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Sure.
But whatever I wished, that at least they should at least see the other option also, and they can do school. So right now they are doing both. And
Okay.
later on, I don't know what's going to happen. So eventually,
Sure.
we have to wait and watch.
Yep. That's nice.
But Gia is very happy. So I'm not getting time at all
Sure.
to actually participate. But just 2 more months, and then definitely I'll try my best to give as much as support as I can.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Purvi. So others who have joined, would more people like to just share what brings you here for today's webinar? For today's things, what is your thought, need, desire, wish just for today's webinar? So that we can see if we can kind of weave everything together. Because it's looking like a very interesting, diverse group. So that's very interesting for me at least, and for Rajesh. Yeah. Anybody else would like to share either through chat or through voice? Okay, because if you share, then we can see how Geeta is there, Ansh is there. Who else is there? Shobha, Sunita, unless it's Aarohi Sunita. Yeah, so would anybody would like to share what is it that you are looking for today? Always you can always connect with us other than the webinar, and always share, and we can together explore what else you are looking for. But today, what brings you here is okay. This is Sunita, is our own Sunita, so I won't even talk to her. Ghar ki murgi dal barabar types. Sorry, Sunita, just pulling you. Manisha. So I'm seeing some names, not necessarily I connect with all the names, but please share so that we can see how we can connect to at least your needs. And right. Okay. Yeah, Archana, would you like to share? Please don't send a direct message to me. Please come on mic and share. Or you can yeah, go ahead, Archana.
Hi, sir. Can you hear us?
Yeah. You can just call me Ratnesh. No need to call me sir.
Oh. Hi. Yeah, I just got to know about this Aarohi few weeks back from my husband, because he explores a lot from like what happens in the education system, what is going on in the current schooling system and all. So his mindset is totally different. Like how the parents who think like kids should go to the school, they should follow the school system. My husband is totally different. So I just got to know Aarohi from his side. Yeah. I totally support and I agree to this open schooling and homeschooling. And the only my concern is, this journey of homeschooling and unschooling is really good for the kids. But what if in the future, if these kids will suffer, will face any problem, like he has not undergone this certificate, then this degree and that.
Yeah.
So will these kids will face any problem?
I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that everybody in their life will face some problem or the other.
They have to face it. That
Isn't
they
it?
have to.
Yeah, and I literally wish that they have problems in their life. I don't know how many people wish like me, but I wish to every child, may you have a lot of problems in your life.
Then only they will face it. They will face it.
That is what is education, according to me. Education is just facing problems, or whatever you want to call it, problems, situations, opportunities, whatever you want to call it. The spellings change, but the life remains life.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
sure. So we will talk about how do we do that? Anybody else wants to share? Okay, so what I would do is, as I said, I have based on Ajesh's recommendation, I made few slides. Ajesh, you can smile now. And because I made some slides, I want to show them off, in the sense, talk about them for a few minutes. And then possibly, if required, depending on how the discussion is going and all that, we can even go into possibly two groups. One group who's more looking of setting up something like Kranti has a school, Satwinder is looking at some kind of an interesting idea of a evening center, open center, and so on. So we can form one group which is more looking at centers and setting up their own learning spaces of different kinds. And then we can have another group which is more to do with their family, like how Kanupriya is saying, or Prashant is saying, or I think Archana is talking about, and so on. So yeah, so we can have one group of more of parents who want to talk about open learning with respect to their children, right? I hope that is fine. So we'll do that bifurcation or vibhajan, as it is called in Hindi, partition, in just a little while. Meanwhile, just let me show off some of my slides. The slides, so the thought started between me and Ajesh as to what is an open learning community. So Ajesh, add whatever you want to add at whatever time, right? Sure. The first thought when somebody talks about, hey, what does a child need for learning? What kind of a space, what kind of an environment, what kind of an opportunity, what is it that the child needs? So that's the question. If you ask yourself, what's that? So I'm not asking you right now. I'm showing off my answers today, which I've copied from Ajesh. So the first thought is, hey, the family or the home is the most amazing place. I think it is too much played down by most people, but I think that's the most beautiful place that we can, which is automatically gifted to the child, because the child is born in a family. And that is so beautiful, because there is so much. It's not about, I'm not here mushy about the love and the care and all that. No. I'm not talking about that here. I'm more talking about how the home where the child is at home, literally, where the child is comfortable, where the child can explore so many things, do so many things, knowing that support is available, knowing that, I can knock on my mom or dad or granddad or whatever, whoever is available. So that itself, if we start regarding that as the most beautiful learning environment, then we will less think about, let's say, anything else, whether it's school or Aarohi, or forget everything else. To me, the home is the most beautiful place. Yeah. Not just because there is parents, but because there is a space which the child kind of owns up. And with that owning up of the space comes the responsibility of the child's learning, which is what the child takes to very diligently the moment the child steps into this world. The child starts learning how to first crawl or whatever, first cry and get what he wants. So he's the leader right from day one, crying, getting what he or she wants, getting himself or herself cleaned up, and we are all running around as maids and servants getting the right thing done. And soon the child evolves into even more voracious learner, exploring, touching everything, tasting everything, literally putting everything in his or her mouth. And the child picks up languages in the home. The child picks up literally everything from the environment. You hang a new thing on the wall, and soon the child has figured out what it is in his own way, right? So that's, to me, the most amazing thing. And if we look one step ahead, then we start seeing what I call as the neighborhood. Now, neighborhood doesn't necessarily mean the physical neighborhood. It also means relatives, friends, circles. And actually you can keep on expanding. If you see the visual on the it's literally expanding in the horizontal direction, meaning you can only see a little part of it, but if you visualize it expanding on right and left beyond the parents in the center, then you can start expanding to the grocery store down the road, to the uncle who lives down the road, or whatever, a carpenter who works in the carpentry shop, and a musician who plays, an auntie who plays some veena or somebody. So you can start thinking of as how the whole, literally the whole learning environment is available to the child, including all the possible people, not just people who are related or friends with you, but everybody who is available to you. And when we start thinking of that way, we start not thinking of homeschooling. Now we are beyond homeschooling. Now we're starting thinking of, actually, we don't even think of schooling. We're thinking of world learning, right? Where the whole world around me is adding to my learning, adding to my journey. And the interesting part there is that as you look at the world around you, then there are all kinds of different opportunities. Yeah. Um, in fact, I'm reminded that when we moved into this campus, the Aarohi has a campus in a village. There was a kind of a robbery here. Right now, most of us would kind of think, oh my goodness, robbery, yes, who came? He says two gundas came on the bike, they showed us knife, and they took away some money and mobile phones. That's what happened. Now, does it scare you? Okay, but for us, it was an amazing opportunity to learn. The children, through that experience, learned so much. They learned how police works. We went to right up to police SP, learned how they are handling this case, how investigation happens, how they do trapping of the vehicles, why do we see blockades on the road. So they did that part. Then they did a complete assessment of the campus safety, where what should be, what can we put. You can put this alarms here, dogs here, fence here, this, that, cost benefit analysis. My goodness, that whole thing went on for months together. Then there were safety, alarms and safety procedures and posters, and you can dream of it. It was we were literally thankful that somebody robbed us. I don't know if you could look at it this way, or you might be thinking it's time to sign out of this webinar. Wrong place to learn wrong things. But yes, that is how we look at life, right? Opportunities are all there. We just have to look at them, and learning just happens, right? Ajesh was reminding me in the morning when we were chit-chatting that we tend to think only when we are into a book or a subject or a course, then when learning will happen, if there is an evaluation, if there is an end result to it. But when you think of every nook and corner in your life, and I'm not just calling it a home, but a life nook and corners of the life, then everything is an opportunity. Yeah. Whether you're going out to buy oranges, and or whether you are going to whether you are being robbed, whatever you feel like, right? And when you start thinking in that way, so it's not just the people, it's all the opportunities, then you realize that we don't really have to worry about how the child is being raised, if at all that word is suitable, is being raised, because it just brings in every little person in the whole life. So that's why the quotation, it takes a whole village to raise a child. So yes, it can be anybody or anything. So unschooling, open learning is all about that. It's embracing the family as a community, the neighborhood as a community, the opportunities as the resource, and then the whole world as our village through which the child can learn from all kinds of people, not just me, but all kinds of people. So yeah, that's my 7.5 minutes spiel, uh, which I didn't really prepare, but I just prepared the slides and I thought I will just share that. We can have some quick thoughts, and yeah, then we can kind of do the partition. Ajesh, you were to start adding something. I'm sure I must have missed out some thought.
I know this is bringing in the non-striker now. This is your method of doing it. I know.
अभी over हो गया, एक over हो गया, so non-striker has to come to bat.
Yeah. So what was I thinking? Yeah. While you were on the slide, I was thinking about the different opportunities, and you brought in the robbery part. So yeah, I'm just thinking that all of us in the webinar are looking at all the many small opportunities now to create learning. Look at each of them as learning opportunities. So when that happens, I think the family now becomes an open learning space. You brought in that the whole world comes in. So yeah. While this was happening also, I was still thinking, hey, okay, the child is learning, but what about the future? Okay, also I was thinking when I think it was not getting the name right, Suthvinder, right? What was the name?
Yeah, Satvinder.
Satvinder was mentioning there's the mother who isn't so much liking on that idea. So that's a beautiful opportunity again to understand conflicts, understand how people and mind operate, and which is so important going forward in life. And so that conflict then again becomes a huge opportunity to learn. Initially, while I was also being introduced to open learning and all, I thought it as a huge challenge. One person in the family not agreeing, one person at a different level. Now I see every different conflict as a huge opportunity for the children to learn and for me to learn as well. So that's another learning. So,
I think you've said something very, very beautiful. So all the participants here who have their either spouses or grandparents not agreeing to or not in sync with open learning, you should celebrate that. You should give them a big mug of hot chocolate fudge today and say, wow, don't agree with me. Right? And which is why I say hot chocolate fudge, because it's the cold ice cream with a hot chocolate poured on it, exact opposites. And I think that's the best mix, right? The hot and cold makes it that much more exciting. So yeah, absolutely. And that can itself be such a beautiful way. So we can talk more about it as we go along. So how do we want to do, Ajesh? What do you suggest? Because I see some people clearly thinking about their opening up or doing something with their centers, and some people wanting to discuss it as a family. Or maybe we can little more chit chat and then we go into a separate room. Yeah.
One is that, and I was also thinking that okay, I can see only 2 or 3 in the group looking at it. So, and of course, like we're starting off the learning space program soon. So individually, if a few of the participants are interested, maybe you can connect separately.
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, Ajesh, I know it's a little too early, but still, if you can just put down your number in the chat window, so people specifically who are looking at setting up some place like Satpinta, Granti, and maybe a few more, then it would make sense that you connect with Ajesh one-to-one also. And just have a chat with Ajesh later on. So you can WhatsApp Ajesh and then fix a time together. Yeah. Okay, so more thoughts after what Ajesh has shared and what I also a little bit talked about using those slides. Any thoughts, questions, other than what about future? We'll come to the future in little future. But any other thought, or even if there's a thought about future, we can take that also, not an issue. Also, let me stop screen sharing, and it would be nice if more people can just be on video. I think that would be nice so that we can see each other. Yeah, we can pull in these slides whenever we need it, which I hope we will not need it. So please don't think, is my question appropriate? Okay, every question is appropriate. This is open learning, which means every single question is appropriate. You can ask anything, even how to make chutney puri, because I know Sunita is there to answer that.
I just want to share that as the topic, like the spouse, most of the people like have an issue that the spouse is not ready for this open learning, or not open. Somebody is there in the house who's not ready for this. So in a way, I'm little relieved that it's not the issue with me only. So there are many people who face the similar kind of thing, that the spouse is not very much for it. And I know, like, till this moment, it was like a very tense topic for me, how to deal with it. But right now, I'm feeling a little lighter to when I'm looking to it with the perspective of like how I'm going to manage this conflict. So it is also a process of learning. So that's a good thought. That is what I want to share.
I would say go ahead and celebrate it in the sense, and celebration should go on, not just today, but celebrations for weeks and months and years together.
Yeah, tomorrow is 14th Feb, so we can celebrate that.
Yes, yes. The point is, as I think Ajesh will add more to it, is that if there is a conflict, and the conflict is always good, because that leads to churning, that leads to agitation. We have a saying, we had a poster also in our earlier center. Now we don't need that poster because there are conflicts all the time here. But earlier we had a poster that if two people think the same way, then one is redundant. Right now, if two people think opposite, then that's where the real masala is. That's where the real churning is. That's where the real, and when there is churning, when there is thinking, then there is automatically exploration, experimentation, and learning. Right. So the very open learning means that we are open to all kinds of views. Right. If open learners start saying you better think like me, then how is it open? Then it's again a closed one person saying you better be like me, right? So there's an internal contradiction there. So as an open learner, I have to embrace, not have to, it comes naturally to me to embrace every point of view. Yeah, I may still have my point of views. I don't need to discard them, but I want to embrace, enjoy, explore. And as Ajesh was pointing out, the beauty is when we engage in these conversations, discussions, and so on, then the child gets involved in it in one way or the other. Even if the child is too young, don't worry about that. But as they can also in their own ways get involved with this, and that helps the child to also say that, okay, life isn't about one point of view, life isn't about this or that, and maybe together you, your spouse and your children together will discover many different ways of learning, and that is what is open learning in a way. So yeah, so please celebrate.
And when Kranti was sharing this at home again, when a few conflicts happened, we got together as a family and then was discussing around how we make decisions as a family. And then autocracy, democracy, everything came in. Who is taking the decision? Okay, the father. Why are you as a father taking the decision? And I'm like, oh, from from all these while there's certain responsibilities, and I took for granted that I am responsible for everything. Then when that changes and people started taking ownership, then we said, oh, okay, so this is democracy. Okay, we've been voting every year or in every 4 years, but then we didn't really understand what democracy means.
Yeah.
So within the family, with conversations, with decision making, so a few of them we would decide based on votes. A few of them we took aside and said, okay, these can't go on majority, because now we have a few people who like chocolates more, so they end up gathering the votes together. So then health, a few other points. So certain points maybe we decide based on votes, few um, logic, a few on emotion. So all these points came, and there was huge learning around it, how to handle decisions at home. So it was again another learning for this.
I would just like to add over here, like, since, as I've mentioned, like, my child is not being attending school and all. So since then, like a month or so, we three of us, me, my spouse, and my son, we used to have this meetings on Saturday, like deciding what are we going to do for the coming week and all. So over there, when we used to have this kind of discussions, there it happens that a point comes when somebody is very adamant over their point. Maybe at times I am also the one who's adamant on my point. Sometimes my husband is adamant, no, this thing should happen like this only, and my son has third view. So all I want to contribute is that in this process, um, of course, like, you also learn that there is a stalemate that is going to happen, and how to handle that, how to come out of it, that's a journey in itself. So yeah, so of course, like, things are very hodgepodge right now, to be very frank. But yeah, I like talking to you people, I'm like feeling at like little comfortable, like, okay, this is the process I'm going through, we are going through, and let's see where it takes us.
Yeah, and you have my blessings. May your life always be hodgepodge. Which it will be. See, it's not even in my control. I don't even need to bless you. Right? And that's where the learning lies.
Yeah.
I was about to say that's how it is going to be always, not just now.
Yeah, but I like that how you kind of get together and realize that that it's not about solving anything, resolving anything, but it's about that getting together. Right, that is the more important part, not the. So as the dialogue goes, the court is adjourned for dinner or lunch, whatever, and then that becomes more important than the whole discussion. So people, when they ask me how in Aarohi you resolve conflicts, we say we don't resolve conflicts. We adjourn for dinner or lunch or whatever. Right. So it never, some issues, believe me, have never got resolved, and isn't that beautiful? And they keep getting discussed, million number of times. Sunita will nod and Ajesh will also know. Some things like how many rusks can I eat in the morning? This issue has never been resolved. Now you will say such a trivial thing. How many rusks in the morning with my milk? Yes, but that's an issue which has always been there in Aarohi, with all kinds of point of views. Right? Have you ever thought of it such an important thing? Rusk with milk. Yeah, I think some people must be thinking, which webinar have we landed up in? So you will have to speak up, Mohit, Manisha, and Prashant, and who else is there? So many people are there. Come on, you'll have to ask your questions. You'll have to knock at us, and we can see how we can kind of resolve. But that's not resolve, respond to you, because that's what open learning is all about. It's all about each one knocking and getting what we know. Okay, Pooja is asking, how do we know a child's need of a learning a particular topic? And the question is, why do you need to know? Meaning, the child himself can, if I have a need, the child will go around fulfilling his or her need. Yeah, do we really need to know? Somehow I'm more reminding as Ajesh, the dad deciding kind of thing. So I would say, Pooja,
So Ratnesh,
let the child lead, and we can be the peon. Imagine Ajesh and Ratnesh to be the peons. Child says, I need this, and we quickly running and bringing to them. So let the child lead. We are there to follow, assist, help, wherever needed.
yeah, so that is my question, Ratnesh, that if the child wants to learn something, so do we need to, suppose he wants to learn about numbers, just a question. So there are numbers around the house and on the clock and everything. He will ask questions. So we do follow that, but do we need to then again provide material for the same, more like activity sheets or something like that? So how do I know firstly that he's interested in that? Will he always ask questions, or I have to keep observing, or how do I take it forward, make it more interesting for him? Or do I need to do it or I don't? That's exactly my question. Yeah.
So I don't have an answer to that, because there are a million ways of doing it, and I guess all million ways are fine till you and your child are both excited about it. So I can't say if a certain way is good or a certain way is bad, because that's the whole point in open learning. Every way is a way. That's it. Now, if you both are excited to walk that way, great. If anyone is not excited, let's see another way where both are excited. Wouldn't that make sense? So it's the constant exploration of how else, what else, where else, when else, and so on. And which is where we are not tied to a certain time that, oh, now you're 3 years old, or now you're 9 years old, or now you're 14 years old, you should learn calculus. No. Whoever learns wants to learn what they want to learn, how they want to learn. We can together then go on that journey. Yeah, like how Manisha is saying, my son will be appearing for 12th standard. Okay, fair enough. So now that he's already appearing, so let him appear. And after 12th, then he can think about, okay, what do I want to do in life? And go that journey. Like for example, he may say, he or she, son. Is it son? Yeah, son. So he may say, I don't want to go to college, or I want to go to college, or I want to do something, or I want to start a business. I don't know what he wants to say. And then if that match excites you also, then there you go. You have a together journey on that.
Okay, so as I said, suppose should I give him worksheets, or should I give him some maths calculations, provide him material regarding that? So that again depends upon his and mine excitement. Like, how do we want to learn it? It need not be a worksheet always. It need not be.
Absolutely.
It could be stones, collecting stones and learning through that.
Bingo.
That is what you meant. Okay.
Absolutely. So first of all, ask yourself, are these worksheets exciting to you? If you say,
okay,
yaar, ye to boring hai, yaar. If that is what is coming from inside you, why would you want to do it? If you yourself don't look at them as something yummy, why would you want to serve it to your child? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if he rejects it saying this isn't yummy, let's say after trying, or even without trying, then it's okay. Then both of us are thumbs down to it. So let's find something where both of us are thumbs up. As you said, maybe stones, pebbles, maybe a walk in the river and collecting pebbles is far more exciting way to not just learn about stones, but everything else which is there in a river, right? As compared to, let's say, doing a worksheet. So I really don't know what is exciting for you and what is exciting for your child. So I can't tell you an answer. For that matter, I can't tell an answer for anybody. When we are together, we can see what excites both of us.
Okay. Good enough. Thanks.
Yeah, just keeping in mind that there are a million ways to learn anything that you want to learn.
Okay, so no particular
way.
no particular topic is the only way. Okay.
Yes. Or no particular topic, no particular method, or no
method.
Particular,
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Definitely something that has interested me while probably listening to your talk as well as understanding open learning is the child's or our own ability to learn, rather than be taught. So, like when the numbers thing was there, when the child discovers numbers or each number and the joy that comes along, rather than once is being told.
Yeah.
I'm finding it beautiful to let the child discover it, and that happiness or maybe even the depth of understanding also I feel increases when they discover it rather than a solution is given. So I find that part also. So when we are trying to facilitate learning, um, I find it important to bring in aspects so that they can discover it whenever possible.
So Ajesh and everybody else, if you allow me, I'll take that Ajesh's thought and say, hey, why only numbers? Why can't I allow the child to discover his or her future? Why do I need to, prepare whatever, prepare and already spoil the future by saying you are gonna be this, you are gonna be earning this will be your designation, whatever, right? Why do I need to do that? Why do I need to even start thinking about future when I'm thinking of it as something that the child will discover his future, which anyway he will discover or she will discover. Then I just go with the flow and see what needs to be discovered. And as and when the child needs whatever, the child can come back. Not come back in the sense the child can at that moment actually learn whatever the child needs to. A lot of people say, oh, what if he does not learn, let's say, algebra right now? I would say, how does it matter? At 52, I can learn algebra. Who says it algebra has to be learned at whatever 9 years? I don't know what years it is taught, or for that matter anything can be learned at any age provided I need it at that time in my life. So in that sense, the future, when you say what about future, I would say exactly, what about future? I don't want to spoil, I don't want an astrologer to spoil my excitement of discovering my future by saying that, hey, this is your future. Rather, I created one brick at a time, or one block at a time, or one step at a time. When I start thinking, oh, this is what I want now, and this is what I want now. And then I keep thinking, how do I create that? And what if I reach, let's say, 18 years and I say, oops, I didn't go to this college. Okay, so what? But how can I create my future in this field, if that is what is exciting to me, and so on. So the future isn't about a path, but the future is about that discovery, I think, what Ajesh is talking about.
I want to ask something over here. Like there are many educational philosophies, and many people like the educationalists, right? Maria Montessori, right? So therein, like there is a pattern which they claim in Montessori, that at this age, this has to be given to the child. At this age, the child's exposure happens into maths, numbers. Um, and here we are completely talking about a very opposite view, as per me. Yeah, it's not that I don't agree. I am not agreeing to you. I'm agreeing because I've seen that in my child, right? There is no specific thing that it has to be like he has to learn at certain age. It was offered to him at that age, but he understood it quite later, or whenever he wanted to, whenever he was interested into it. So I'm coming from there, and I have this understanding, or whatever I have been believing. Basically belief is coming over here, whatever I have believed for so many years, right? So this is like good for my child at this age, this is to be provided, at that age that has to be provided. So what happens then? I'm somewhere unable to solve this conflict. And as far as I know, like uh, Ratnesh will just leave me over there and be happy in my own contradiction and just find it for myself. But I'm just trying to, I'm not like asking answer over here, but I'm just expressing myself, I would say. yeah.
I want to little challenge one of the things that you said initially. I don't think in whatever I have read, at least, and I've read quite a lot about, at least take an example of Maria Montessori. I don't think at any point she says at this age this should be done, at this age this should be done. I would contest any Montessorian who says that is how it. Maria Montessori said it. When they took what Maria Montessori did and converted it into a system, then to create a system, they created all of these so-called, let's call it guidelines or whatever. What Maria Montessori has said million zillion times is observe the child. Period. Right? And if you observe the child, then you are not going by any guideline. Your guide is the child. The child is the leader. That is what Maria Montessori has said. All right. And that is what literally every educationist you talk about, Aurobindo ji, you talk about, and you literally take anybody's name, right? Whether it's Piaget, whether it's Vygotsky, whether it's this or that, so many names, right? Everybody is exactly saying the same thing. They're not saying slice the child's life into n number of vertical, whatever spaces where he has to now in this passage of time, he has to learn, do this way and don't do this. Also, you need to realize that they were also responding to the already structured system which existed between whatever the 1900s to 2000, let's say, or till date, right? And that's why they were trying to say, no, don't do this, don't start making them write at that age. Rather observe when they want to, when they are ready to, let's say, pick up a pencil to write, not as opposed to, let's say, draw and so on. So I would say there is no contradiction when you observe a child and follow the child. Then there is no contradiction. And in a way, what Mohit is saying in the chat, exactly same thing, Mohit, I would say that if you let the child lead his exposure, then there is no should give exposure. Then there's no should. And because when there is a should, then there is a conflict, then there is a tension. If I say you should do this, then there is a tension, because if you don't do it, then I am very, very tense about it. But the moment you allow the child to lead his exposure, and the child will automatically get attracted to art also, and sports also, and concepts also, because that all exists around the child. Right? The child can't even, let's say, cook a simple dish without, let's say, measurements. Right? So it is not that the concept of measurement has to come from a subject or from a book. The concept of measurement comes from doing. And the moment you do something, whether you're making a dish or you are making a trip to somewhere, you have to measure how much time, how many kilometers, how much is left, and so on. So I think, Mohit, more than worrying about the exposure, I would say let the child just discover his aptitude, again using Ajesh's word, the discovery part, as well as discover future, as well as by the exposures that are very naturally in all the three areas that we talked about: in the home, in the broader life and its problems, and within a community. When you go to a community, when there are so many different people, if one is doing art in front of me, I'm automatically getting exposed to art. One is singing around me, then I'm getting exposed to singing. If one is cooking, I'm getting exposed to cooking. If one is whatever giving a lecture, then I'm getting exposed to giving a lecture, and so on. And in some ways, which is why I like the beauty of a community, which is at a home level, at a broader level, and then at a large group level, because that automatically gives the child a very beautiful exposure to a lot of people and a lot of things and a lot of problems, everything. Ajay, are you there? I'm still thinking it might just be worthwhile, because people may want something more specific out of the webinar, that we can, if some of you want to more specifically talk about how we take a venture forward, like how Satwinder said, or Kranti was talking about her school and so on. So would you like to do that? Will some of you like to want to start something or already doing and want to take it to the next level? You can I've created a breakout room so you can spend some time with Ajesh and then later on connect for a more detailed talk. And people who want to talk about their child specific to, my questions about my child and his or her open learning, then I can, chit chat with you here. So I'm just opening a breakout room and I'm going to throw Ajesh there. And I think I opened a room called with Ajesh. So whoever wants to little chit chat about starting a space, or if you already have a space and want to kind of, so you can just join in and have a chat about that with Ajesh. So maybe, yeah. And others, you can ask me questions here. Others meaning people who want to more talk about with respect to your child. Ajesh has gone there, and yeah, I think, yeah, anybody else who wants to, if you're finding any issue in terms of joining that room, just ask me in the chat window. I will also. Okay, Mohit, I'm not sure I understood the question. You're asking what is the place of homeschooling and NIOS in NEP. I'm not sure what is NEP. Mohit, would you like to come on mic? Right. So just once more, if anybody is more thinking of starting, or you already have a center, or you want to start a center or start a formal community, then please join Ajesh to talk about a little more about it. Else, yeah, and here we can discuss more. So, Kranti's, I think, Kranti, I'll put you in the breakout room. Don't worry. Yeah, now Kranti, you can join. You must have got a prompt. Yeah. Right. So the people.
I have a question.
Yeah, please. And if more people want to come on video, that would be nice. At least I can see your face and connect with you visually. But if that is not practically possible, that's also okay. It's not like it's mandatory, just my preference. Yeah,
no,
hi,
it's
Pooja.
fine.
Yeah.
Hi. We were talking about numbers as an example. So there, so numbers are everywhere. So he might ask, what is this? We might talk about it and he happens to learn it. But what about counting? How do we go there? Like, do I need to expose him? Like how you just mentioned, you don't need to expose. They will automatically come to that point, or their interest will bring them there. So suppose in the context of counting, how do we take that in? Do I expose him like, see, you have to count like this 1, 2, 3, or just like we are talking, like, do you want to have 2 chapatis or 1 chapati? So that will click. Do I need to even do that, or should leave that also aside?
Yeah, in most cases, at least in my experience, we don't need to. Yeah, children learn. I mean, if, for example, I can easily talk about my own son who has never been to any kind of schooling or structured kind of environments. Okay. We have never taught him any kind of counting or reading or anything. Right. And he has obviously learned all of those things. Not because he's some extra bright or extra anything. It's because it's in his environment. In his environment, there's everything. I mean, people say, I want to teach time to my child. And I said, why? I mean, the watch is there, the child is there, the child has to, if the child has to watch his match at 4 o'clock, cricket match coming, he will figure out how to read the time. And the problem is not with these, whether the child will learn on his own. The problem is we have already kept a timeline to it. Oh, you are 5 years old and you don't know to do this. And then we feel all worked up about it. So just to give again my son's example, till 8 years, he was not reading on his own. And whenever he needed to read anything, he would bring us the book and we will read, or he will take it to somebody else. Yeah. Till 8 years. And at 8, he decided that he wants to learn how to read. And then within few months, he was reading like nobody's business. Why? Because he was already for 8 years exposed to the written word. It was not that he was not exposed to. He was seeing the written word all around him. He was just not putting the effort to read it. The day he decided to put in the effort, He was reading Zapat, and by 10, 11, 12, so he had read up all these Harry Potters and Percy Jacksons and you name it, all the novels, those thick novels, which I use more for weightlifting than anything else.
So
right now he's 16, obviously, so now there is no issue with anything. So I'm just saying, see, the point that I'm trying to make is we tend to think there is an age to do this. That's what the whole system has made those vertical lines and drawn those graphs and said, by this age, these are the benchmarks and all that, which is very, very funny. There is absolutely no benchmark. You can learn anything at any point of time.
I agree to that point, and that is somewhat what I follow. I have never sat to teach him anything at his age. Whatever he asks for, whatever we talk, he learns from that. I'm following you a lot on Instagram as well. I hear your sessions with Vijay Shruti.
Yeah.
Vishruti, yeah. So my question was like, how will he know, or how will I know that he wants to do it? Kind of like how you said about your child reading. So you had exposed him to books. So you never told him that this is letter A or B, or that never happened, or he came and suddenly told you that I want to know what is this letter. Suddenly
No. He never came to us that he wants to know. In fact, I still joke with him that, do you really know A to Z? Can you say A to Z? Because nobody has ever taught him A to Z or even talked about that A, B, C, D are in that order. And if you realize A, B, C, D in that order is meaningless. It's only used in dictionary. Absolutely. Or finding a seat in a bus or a theater. Right. So he doesn't. I won't be surprised if he doesn't know A to Z in that order. Even now he's 16, but obviously he would know. He would have figured it out. The point is not. He never come and said that. He just said that I now have a need to read. Why? Because I want to find information. So in his case, just to take his example, he wanted some information from a website. And it was all written down matter. So there is no other way for him but to read it. And then at that time, there was nobody available to read to him. So he would have felt that, okay, now I must read this because I must develop this skill so that it's easy for me.
Okay. And then you taught him reading?
No. There's no need. There's no need.
So how did you go about it? How did he discover reading?
That's it. The moment he decided he wants to learn how to read, then suddenly the written word is again everywhere around him. It's there in the books, it's there in newspapers, it's there on hoarding, it's there on the packaging, it's everywhere. So words aren't very difficult to figure out once you want to figure out what the words mean to you.
Okay. I'm a little blank here.
Not only you are a blank. When I ask him that how did you learn reading, he's totally blank. So I don't know how he learned how to read. He doesn't know how to learn how he learned how to read. You don't know how you learn how to read unless you went to a structured school.
I went to a structured school.
Okay. Yeah, but so what I'm saying is most of us who have learned how to read, or reading is just one example. Okay, don't know how we learned how to read. And I can tell you one thing that all of us had learned how to do without anybody teaching us is that speaking mother tongue. All children learn their mother tongue. How do they learn? Is there a structure to it? Is there a pattern to it? No.
Repetitive learning, repetitive listening, probably.
Yeah. Okay, you can call it repetitive listening, but it doesn't happen in any one specific manner. Each child does it in a very, very different way. Right? If you break it down to a task, and you can extrapolate that to anything that needs to be learned. How did I learn how to operate a computer, for example? I was not born in the computer generation. In fact, till my college, there were no computers. Only after I came out of my first college, went to the second college, then there was one computer lab with 3 computers and so on. But how did I learn computer? I don't know. I just learned it by using them, by asking people, by figuring out and so on.
Okay.
Isn't it? So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to say there's no place of a teacher. The place of a teacher is when I want to learn. If Pooja knows something, which I'm sure she knows lots of things which I don't know, but if I want to know what you know, and if I ask you, but if I am asking, Pooja, show me this, and then when you show, then it makes all the sense, right?
It makes all. The child discovering it, as you said.
Yeah, and the child wanting to be taught.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to say that teachers don't have a role, but this teacher is not a formal teacher. This teacher could be anybody. right? If the mithai shop guy down the street makes amazing milk cake, for example, then he's the right teacher to learn how to make milk cake, isn't it?
Right.
I should go to that halwai and say, how do you make the milk cake? And if he teaches me, then I'm learning from the right person. I don't have to attend a course or go to a teacher. So this is how children learn. They learn from anybody in the environment. And that is what in open learning, that is why that group is important, that which is obviously the most important group is the family, but that people around that. So the resources is not the physical resources, which sometimes we worry about. Resources are often the people around us.
So if I want some community like that here in Thane, how do I go about, like-minded people? How do we search them?
Okay, so first thing is everybody around you has a mind.
Okay.
Right? So remove the word like from your like-minded people, right? Now
Okay.
say everybody with a mind is a resource, is a community for me, is an open learner. Why is everybody an open learner? Because everybody wants to learn what they want to learn, isn't it?
Okay.
Your neighbor, your neighbor's neighbor, a person whom you have never met before also wants to learn what they want to learn. They want to do. Okay, let's forget the word do. Learn. Let's say everybody wants to do what they want to do. Isn't it? So
yes.
Everybody is a potential community member. Think of it that way. Why do they have to subscribe to, I hereby declare that I am an open learner? No. Nobody needs to. So how about the whole Thane as an open learning community? Now, obviously, you won't go to every single person, but start with whomever you know. And you'll be surprised. You already know a lot of people. And they know a lot of people, and they know a lot of people. You know how the chain goes. Does that make sense?
I lost you. There was no connection. I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Whole Thane, I lost you there.
Okay. Yes, but you please find Thane there. If you lose me, no problem. Right? To me, the whole Thane is your community. As in, what I mean is not every single person, but at least you know some people, and the people know some people, and those people know some people. And there you go. You already have a community. Now, within that, there could be school goers and non-school goers. How does that matter to you? They could be a businessman, they could be a shopkeeper, they could be an aunt and a grandma who does knitting, and there could be somebody else who sings. Everybody is an open learner. Think of it that way. Then everybody is part of your community. And then within that, there will be some people who will say, I like the way you are doing it. I also want to do it with you. I want to meet up with your family. And that's where more closer ties will start forming. It doesn't have to, when we think about forming a community, a lot of people think, oh, there needs to be a place, there needs to be a name, there needs to be a place, there needs to be some money, some resources, some resource people, teachers. No. Then you're going back to the school model. Leave that aside. Just say that, everybody is a resource. Everybody, let me connect with more people. And more people, as I said, need not be unknown people. Start with the known people. And that itself can be so beautiful. And that is the beginning of the community. And when I start looking at the whole world as my community, then there is no stopping you or your child to connect and see what I need. We tend to think that the only way to learn is to go to a course, to a workshop, and that's the only way to really, really learn. But that's not true. In fact, far more fun in learning is when we don't necessarily go to these places. We learn it more by people who are doing it. And that's not difficult to find somebody who's doing what you want to do or what your child wants to do.
I'm just letting that sink in for some time.
Yes, absolutely. So if I ask you, Pooja, what do you like doing? Tell me one thing that you like doing.
Eating.
Okay. Tell me one more thing that you like doing.
Drawing.
Ah, good. Okay. So now already in my mind, I'm thinking, if I want to talk about food, I can talk to Pooja because she likes eating. And if I want to talk about drawing or maybe do drawing, or if there is any child who wants a company for drawing, I'm sure Pooja will like to connect with. Now, if I call you tomorrow, and I'm serious about this, if I call you tomorrow and Pooja say there's one child who needs just somebody to draw with him or her, not just child, forget somebody. It could be an adult, it could be a child. Could you spend some time drawing with this person? Maybe not immediately, maybe whenever you have time. Would you say yes or would you say no?
Yeah, definitely.
Why? Because it's your interest, right?
It's interest, correct.
Yeah. I'm not telling you to do hula hoop, maybe assuming that is not your interest, right? So I'm asking you, so I'm connecting with you not because you hold a degree in eating or a degree in drawing or that you are good at. No, I don't care about good at. I don't care about anything. I'm seeing where is an energy. Right? You have an energy in interest. You have an energy in drawing, let's say, which is your unique energy. Now somebody else has another interest. So now two people interested in drawing is a matching of energy. And energy plus energy is synergy.
Oh, okay. So
right?
the learning will automatically happen.
Absolutely.
Just need to look around.
Absolutely. Right? Windows 10 is a good operating system. Just open all the windows in your house. Open 10 windows. Right? And look outside and you will see. And doors 10 and so on. However you want to look at it.
Okay.
And this is not just at a young age. This is at any age, my age. I can learn so much. There's so many people, I keep getting calls. Oh, I want to also, like for example, we are all here in this little webinar. Why have you come to the webinar? Because you are interested in open learning, right? And I'm also interested in open learning. And there we go. We have come together. Whichever way we have come together. I don't know you, you don't know me, but we have a connection, right? And it's not even a commercial connection, which is always better. And non-commercial connections are far more joyous, I would say. And nothing wrong with commercial connections. I'm not trying to say they are not good enough. I mean, obviously, people need to earn also. So if that's their vocation, we would pay them also, right? So if I go to somebody who says, I can also draw with you, but you need to pay me because I've worked on it. It's my profession. We'll say fair enough. And if I want to pay him or her, I will do that also. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, I'm just taking a pause for more people to jump in if they have any conversations or thoughts.
Yes, thank you.
And also you can continue. No, I'm not trying to say that you need to stop. I'm just saying maybe they want to share.
No,
about
there's a lot to take in. Firstly, I would need to reflect.
Sure. And if some more people want to jump in this conversation or have any other thought, question, you can also come on the mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Satyanarayana.
I'm new to this, so can you please introduce what is open education, what you do, and
okay. So first thing is you are not new to this. Why? Because before you went to a school and after you finished your whatever school, college you went to, from that time till today, Satyanarayana, you do open learning, don't you? You learn or do whatever you feel like learning and doing, isn't it?
yes.
That's it. That's what we are talking about.
No, but there is one issue here. I think.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you it's not new. It's happening all around us. Yeah, go ahead.
My entire childhood has been in a way cut off from school. In a way, even though I do physically be there, but my education has never been in the school. So what happens in that such, if a child learns on its own, the issue is what happens is they will be very different.
They will be very
different.
Sorry, different.
Yes.
Okay.
Different in the sense the thought process, the style of thinking, style of learning, style of doing things. It will be unique.
Yeah, agreed.
So the formal education, what it does is it tries to
homogenize everything.
Homogenize it. It kills in a way creativity.
Sure.
You will find that just small kids are very creative, and you just look at drawing. Never been to school or preschool, particularly preschool, you'll see they're very creative.
Right.
And then as they go to the school process, it's their minds are oriented. If you tell him to do a landscape, everyone will do almost the same thing. Okay, maybe the colors little bit here and there different, but they almost do the same. So what happens is this homeschooling is not new. It's very popular in many European countries, particularly countries like France and Germany. It's very, very popular. But the problem with them is they can't. They are very creative individuals. They are. They know how to learn many things, but they can't gel with people. The reason why they can't gel with people is the style of thinking will be unique. If you don't go to formal education at all, I'm talking about that.
So when you're saying they can't gel with people, who are these they that you are talking about? Talking about Europeans, or are you talking about Europeans?
Anybody, it doesn't matter. His style of thinking will be different, very unique.
Yeah, but why do you say they can't gel with people? I have seen hundreds and thousands of both children and adults, but they don't have any problem gelling with people. Why do you say that? That's what I'm a little curious to know. Why do you say they can't gel with people?
Suppose, if you do homeschooling, okay, so you the child comes in contact only with the parent, okay, or maybe with their grandparents, or maybe their close.
No, wait. Why do you stress upon homeschooling? In the sense, why do we need to do within only the boundary of home? Why can't we do?
No. It need not be. Even if you take a village setup, okay, village, it's a classic example for it. Okay, in village also people learn on their own many things. Okay, along with their parents or along with their relatives, they learn, and that's how they grow. But what I'm trying to tell you is, if you don't do formal education, okay. For example, I have encountered people who have just given the 10th exam directly and gone into college. They will think differently.
Okay.
It means no formal schooling, just pass the exam. Okay, it could be O level, or it could be your CBSE 10th exam and 12th exam, and directly go to college. The style of thinking will be completely
different. Okay. I'm not totally understanding what you mean by their style of thinking would be different, but let's assume their style of thinking is different. Let's continue with that thought. Even if I assume their style of thinking is different, why do you think that it will hamper them, or they will not be able to gel with the others? Because I have not even one experience like that. I've worked with hundreds of I should say thousands of children and adults who are in this open learning. You call it homeschooling, unschooling, open learning. To me, they're all the same words. But I've not even seen any one of them having any difficulty with gelling with anybody. So I'm still I'm not able to understand.
No, gelling not in the sense of relationship, gelling in the sense of ideas.
Sorry, gelling in the sense of?
Terms of ideas, gelling in the sense of knowledge acquisition. The reason is, in a school setup, what happens is you work as a team. Okay.
You work as a?
You work as a team. team, means it's a group.
Okay, I'm again
Okay.
not so sure if in schools you work as a team, but anyway,
At
let's
least,
keep that aside. Let's keep the school aside. I'm just trying to understand what is the concern that you have. So forget the school part. You tell me, you think these guys are not team players?
No. Actually, what happens if you see, just to give an example, now if you grow your child from, let's say, from the day he or she is born till the till the class 10th or class 12th or whatever it is, and he or she joins the college, the first thing you will see, they will think different, because they're very independent first. They don't have to depend. Okay, in a learning process, you in a school setup or college setup, where what happens is, how you do learn is by discussing with people, or by talking to people, or maybe by copying. I don't know what. There's so many ways people learn, right? So if if a child learns on its own, they will be very different in terms of, because they'll be independent. They won't depend. They don't need a teacher also sometimes.
Yeah, but they are not independent. They are interdependent. They learn from so many people. They connect with so many things, events. So I'm not so sure I'm in agreement with you that they are independent. In fact, I would say the school tries to tell them you have to be independent. While I would say in open learning, we are all interdependent. A child doesn't learn in a vacuum. So we are nowhere talking that the child should learn on his own, on her own. We are saying that, in fact, we are saying just the opposite. Why should the child learn on his own? The child, when the child can learn in a beautiful community. When I say community, parents being the first, then relatives, then friends, then neighbors, then the shopkeepers, then anybody else the child comes in contact with. Everybody is part of their life. So I'm not so sure if I'm Ratnesh. Sorry, I have okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give you one example, Satyanarayan. I don't know what has been your experience. Somehow our experiences don't seem to be kind of matching, but I'll give you one example. Okay. 13 of our children, around 13, 12 or 13 of our children, they went for a skiing course in Gulmarg, right? Okay. From Bangalore, they went to, these are all unschoolers, homeschoolers, whatever you want to call them, open learners. Many of them have never ever, including my son, he has never gone to any school whatsoever, right from birth, right? So he has never even seen a school, forget going to a school. Right? So they all went to this skiing course. Now the skiing course is run full military style, very rigid, very, like the people are all, there's a lieutenant colonel who runs the whole show, and he like runs it like a whoa, and everything is disciplined, and everything is, you are 2 minutes late, go back to your room, no skiing for you, and like that, very strict. And everybody was cribbing about it. Oh, there were so many other children. There were about 80 odd people out there, children and young adults, and everybody was cribbing. And can you think of 13 people who were not at all cribbing? They completely gelled in with the course. They had no problem with the strictness also. They were on time also. They were completely enjoying it also. And not even once I had this group, I was part of that group, not even once the group said, this is too strict, this is too tough, we can't even wear chappals to the mess, and we can't do this, and not even once. While these so-called children who are all going to schools, and young adults who have gone to colleges of all kinds, they were all the time cribbing, why is this a military style? Now you please tell me who adjusted. I could clearly see that these 13 people, including me, we were so quick to adjust because we were very clear why we are here. We are here to learn skiing. Superman, and this is an amazing place. This is an heaven on earth. And let's enjoy the place, let's enjoy the food, and let's enjoy the instruction. And if these guys are strict, that's good for us, and let's go for it. But everybody else wanted something else. I don't know why they were there or what they wanted, but so many of them were cribbing. So my experience is just the opposite. My experience is that these children have seen the world, because they're all the time interacting with the world. They're not sitting in a classroom and studying from a textbook or studying from a blackboard, but rather these children are constantly interacting with the world, with everybody in the world. And they are so attuned to that world itself works in 100 million ways. There is no one way for the world to work. Right? These children have seen how people can bribe a conductor and get a seat in the train. They've also seen how people grab a seat also by force and dadagiri. And they've also seen how you can be assertive. They have tasted everything. Right? So they are far more adaptive to what is happening, and they know, most importantly, that finally how they cope with something is their responsibility. Nobody else will kind of, what should I say, um, save them or help them out or bail them out of a situation.
No, because anyway, even if you see in formal education, what happens is there is a structure on which a child is been taught. Okay, and that's how it builds. It builds from primary school to secondary, and then to high school, and then to college, and then super specialization and so on. So there is a structure on which the knowledge base is built. Now, if a child doesn't belong to the structure, what will happen is it will it it may be little bit confused at the later end.
Or I would say just the opposite. I see, again, my experience is just the opposite of yours, and I am only talking about my experience. My experience is that these children who are designing their own structure, who are designing their own life, are less confused by the time they are whatever, 15, 16, 17, 18. While possibly there are so many youngsters I meet, young adults who are, even after college, they don't know what they want to do in life, because they haven't really thought about themselves. All the schooling years and all the college years, they've been fed. You read this, you pass this exam, then you can move ahead, which is nothing but next exam, and then the next exam, and then the next exam. So in that sense, they are not really thinking about themselves, while unschoolers, open learners are the one who are all the time deciding and creating their own structure. So by the time they actually start reaching 14, 15, 16, 17, they are already thinking about their life and how they want to go about it. So I just want to add, Satyanarayana, apart from so many other children I've worked with, I have two of my own children. My daughter is 22. She's not given any 10th, 12th, no college, and she's running her own business at the age of 22. She's thoroughly enjoying her life, doing what she likes doing, does so many things in spite of doing her own business. And I don't see her in any which way in that sense lost. Yeah. In a regular sense, she will have problems in her life, which is the spice of life. In the same way, I have a 16-year-old who has never been to school. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't have problems in life. Everybody has problems in life, but he knows that he has to deal with the problems. And he discusses the problems and he tries to work on it. Sometimes works, sometimes stumbles, just like anybody else.
Let me give you an analogy to it. This reminds me when you're saying that Malgudi days of Arkanara.
Sure.
You have the Swami and his friends, and the way they learn, in the fields or in the whatever the way they interact with people,
absolutely,
with adults.
Yes.
Okay. So, in fact, if you look at people who were born in the 60s or 50s and 60s, they all grew up in a more or less the same way, even though they had a formal schooling, but they learned more from the outside the school than in the school, the class.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, if the formal schooling gives an advantage in a professional world where there is a structure and there is a certain way a report has to be written, that there's a certain way a meeting has to be conducted, there's certain ways the knowledge has to be presented in a publication. Okay, so there it comes to the picture.
Well, I'm not so sure, because again, while it does,
I always like someone who differs.
See, if I look at the companies of today, none of the companies want the same formal way of structuring a report, and those ways are gone. Now we live in a world of GIFs and animations and stickers and videos and God knows what. Even the most corporate presentations are very different. The whole content is very different. So, and who is leading them? Who is creating them? Who is making this way of people working in a more democratic way rather than in a very hierarchical, it has to be done this way, Baba types of way. And that is the beauty of, I would say, not just open learning, I would even take it to the open working, where working is also not just limited to following your boss and doing it in a certain way. Rather, working is workspaces where people are encouraged to innovate on the go, not just innovate in terms of product, but innovate the way they talk, the way they do things, the way they create solutions, and all the time enjoying their work, rather than it becoming a chore that I have to do it in a certain way. So I would say we have gone through an era, which I would call it as an industrial era, which kind of made us say that, okay, only if you do the thing, only if you are dressed in a certain way, only if you write in a certain way, only then you are good enough. But that era is over. No, now the era is not about that structure or that kind of you can
but
say.
you look at it, you just look at the diksha, the the kind of schooling pattern they do, and the exam oriented schooling and colleges. It's the same. But I do agree that if you want creativity, you have to have open learning. That's something where I agree with you. But in real world, that's what is happening, because ultimately you have to get into a good institution, then good jobs and stuff like
um, well,
that.
interesting. So are you trying to say that I can get a good job, let's say, let's take that, only if I have a good degree?
No, I don't agree with all those things. Okay, I
Okay,
am
so
very
in which
much
case,
sync with you in many ways, even though we
so
do
yeah. So
disagree.
yeah, what I'm trying to say is that good job and good degrees are thankfully no more related, right? Everybody wants an employee who knows what needs to be done rather than who has a degree on the resume. So the degrees are something, even the new education policy thankfully at least talked about it. Whether it gets implemented or not, I don't know, is slowly talking about that even the government jobs should stop looking at only just the degrees and should start thinking of people who have been vocationally involved in that particular field, who have been hands-on, who are learning not for the sake of some paper, which is the degree, but who are doing something because they want to do it well. So the whole
Sir,
industry.
actually, you are very much, see, this kind of school of thought is coming from Strainer. Am I right? I don't know.
No,
Waldorf.
no, it's not coming from anywhere, sir. It's coming from
Okay.
children. If you
Yeah,
observe
that's a natural
children,
process. That's a
if you
natural process of learning. Even
if
in
you
Finland,
observe children, they are telling us that.
in
It's
Finland, it's highly creative form of learning, because they have the similar. They leave a child learn on their own, and one of the best in the world today.
Yeah, but I'm trying to clarify that I'm not coming from any school of thought. I'm only coming from the thought that each child is very different, wants to learn very differently, live very differently. So there is an immense, you can say, value in understanding, following, and being with the child rather than trying to put the child into a so-called artificial one-size-fits-all structure. Now, if somebody wants to go through that schooling or colleging, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that is one way of doing it. So often I give an analogy of highway versus when people come to our campus, and sometimes we are located in Tamil Nadu, and some people ask us, hey, how do I go to Chennai? So I always tell them there are two ways of going to Chennai. One is a highway, keep paying the tolls, and you will go at a high speed and reach Chennai in about 5 hours. Yeah. Now that is what I call as the conventional education. There's a highway, you keep paying toll after every 1 year, called exams and fees and stuff like that, and you keep moving at a certain speed, and every other car on that road is moving at the same speed in the same direction. Everybody is very focused and so on and so forth. Nothing wrong with that. That's an amazing way to reach Chennai. But there is another route. I tell them, don't go the highway route. There's another route which meanders through all kinds of villages, where there's shady trees below which you will stop, where there's a nice little pond where you will throw some stones and skip them on the surface, where there is an akka sitting, ajji sitting at the edge and, frying some bhajis, and you may buy them and hear her stories about her village. And God knows when you will reach Chennai, but who cares about reaching Chennai? It would be just an amazing journey that you would take. Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other. And if you feel insecure about this, you can always jump back to the highway. And if you feel dull and boring on the highway, you can jump back to the sideways and go through these small, lanes. Some are bumpy, some are potholes, some are something. You don't have to pay any tolls. You're not in a hurry. There's no time check there. There's no speed check there. There are nobody. Everybody is in their own. The guy on the cart is in his own speed. The guy on the cycle is in his own speed. So it's a choice. At the end of it, Satyanarayana, it's all about choice. You want the highway is there, and highway is beautiful. You want this village roads where the bhaji is being sold, you're most welcome to explore that, if that is what excites you. So it's a matter of choice. The reason I am talking about it like this, because a lot of people have started believing that there is no choice, that the only way to go is to go on this highway called school and college and conventional education. I'm not trying to say that is wrong or bad. Absolutely not. Please don't think I come across like that. If I come across like that, all I'm saying is that's only a choice. There are more choices. There are more pathways. There are more lovely roads where we can go on a journey together. You decide what you want to do in life, which road, which pathway you want to follow.
Very
Right?
interesting. I really like the way you put it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You meet every Saturday, is that right?
Yes, we meet every Saturday.
Please, I will join every Saturday. It's nice.
Please, our pleasure.
And my children are also grown up, so I'm in the education, but I teach for the higher education.
Sure.
It's nice to see. But this question always comes to me that they'll be different. They won't be like the highway kids.
Yeah, but see, the point is, the whole objective is not to be different. So it doesn't matter whether they are different or not. We aren't trying to make children or ourselves different. It's not for the sake of being different that we are doing it. So it doesn't matter whether we are different or not. In fact, I don't think that we are different. Yes, each one of us is different. I mean, look at Ajay, she looks different. Look at Pooja, she looks very different. Not just looks in the sense of looks, but I'm sure Archana is also looking very different. And now she's smiling. So the idea is not that we are different just the way we look. We all think in all different ways because we are from different families, different belief systems, different traditions, different things, and different experiences in life. And that's absolutely fine. The point is that, what do I want in this journey? Yeah, the journey called whatever, life, I would say. And I would say my children, I keep telling that never grow up, please. And I wish I never grow up. I can vouch for it. Ajesh will say Ratnesh doesn't grow up at all. He's the day he will mature will be a different person. So the idea is not to grow up, but the idea is to just whatever, stumble, fumble, jump, skip, hop, run, sleep all along. It's just yes, Pooja, you can, all the webinars are put on a playlist, and the playlist is available on the website, as well as, it's there basically on the website or our channel, the Aarohi Life Education page. So all the videos are uploaded. So
very nice talking to you, Rich. So I will keep in touch. Maybe next Saturday we meet. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes, yes. And I think the light in my camera is telling me that it's quite late now. It's almost 6:40. I think it's time also to, it's been a lot of discussions today. And thank you for everybody to initiate those discussions and to bear me out. Ajesh, you want to end this by some thought from what transpired? I'm just very curious in the breakout room.
No, I think I think 4 or 5 of us, and we discussed about creating more spaces, and then we created discussed also about the learning program that we're starting. So we'll take those discussions forward in that session as how we conclude it.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I want to end with an invitation to everybody, to Archana, to Pooja, and everybody else who is there, Harika, Jayashri, Purvi, and Satyanarayana, everybody, that anytime you feel like having a conversation about open learning, please feel free to engage us. Just message us and we can connect on phone, on a video call. We are always anyway meeting every Saturday. Next Saturday, we would have a family with us who has been doing open learning, and they would share. They were supposed to be actually there this Saturday, but they couldn't come for some reason. So they will be there next Saturday. And so, yeah, so please feel free to connect with us if you have any thought, question, anything you want to discuss.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you,
you.
everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Pooja. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Ramesh.